Good morning, everybody. Welcome to our webinar, 6 Inspiring Intranet Examples. In this webinar, we will share some of the incredible and creative intranets our customers have created. So hopefully you will leave this webinar inspired to tackle your next intranet project. We anticipate this webinar to be approximately 30 minutes. There will be time at the end for some Q&A, but if you want to test out the chat feature, you can try it out right now by typing your name and company in the chat box. So now I'd like to introduce our two amazing speakers. Caroline, I'm not going to try pronouncing your last name. She is our Director of Customer Success, and Amal Gill, he is our Director of Sales. So over to you, Amal.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much, Kelly. Caroline and I are excited for today's webinar on 6 Inspiring Internet Examples. The webinar today is based on a white paper we recently released that has been getting lots of downloads and I think is a very interesting read. We are often asked how organizations can improve their internet, make it more visually appealing, increase engagement, boost productivity, or enhance company culture. Well, we may have a few ideas of our own. It is our customers who are the real experts. One of the ways we discover just how clever our customers are is through the Thought Farmer's Best Internet Awards competition. So through the categories of design, impact, and innovation, they demonstrate immense creativity in solving organizational challenges using their internet. Today, we're going to cover some of these incredible submissions we have received over the last few years, as well as a few other customers that we partnered with on some exceptional case studies. We've seen firsthand the tangible impact a well-designed internet has on an organization, and yeah, we're excited to share these insights with you today. So first up is Bank of Oklahoma Financial. They are located in lovely Tulsa, Oklahoma. They are in the banking industry with over 4,500 employees. Now, BOKF is a very interesting organization as they are made up of a number of different banks. So there's Bank of Oklahoma, Bank of Texas, Bank of Albuquerque, and a few years back, they made a key strategical initiative to be able to improve communication between all of their employees, regardless of what bank they were in. Another key item was just simply being able to find content quickly for their staff. So back in 2017, BOKF launched with the cloud edition of Thought Farmer. A few months into their launch, Mother Nature struck. A tornado knocked out their entire IT headquarters for BOKF, and every system within their organization was down. So lots of drama for their staff. They weren't able to figure out what they were supposed to do in the upcoming work week. So I'm going to finish this example off by reading to you verbatim the email that I received from the VP of Comms about how they handled this crisis. So dear Mole, this past weekend, a tornado struck our primary operations center in Tulsa. All systems were down, including email and phone, for almost the entire day on Sunday. We had no way to communicate with our employees as we weighed options for recovery efforts, and news was changing literally moment by moment in terms of what things would look like and where employees would work from come Monday morning. Thank God for Thought Farmer. Yesterday, Bank Connect, which they named their intranet, became our central repository for all information shared with the employee base. Paired with blast text and blast voicemails, we were able to steer all employees to our intranet, and they were able to log on from their homes, getting updates throughout the day. We were able to post the mundane details all the way to reassuring messages from our CEO. Employees could ask questions and we could respond in real time. And here is just a sampling of comments on our intranet during the event. Happy to have Mobile Bank Connect. Thank you to everyone involved and for keeping us updated. Love that Bank Connect is accessible via mobile devices to stay informed even when things are down. So glad no injuries and love this communication tool. Thank you. Our contact goes on to say that Bank Connect has already proven its worth in terms of the increase of engagement with our workforce, the more exciting content we can post, the comments, the profiles, all the things we love with the platform so far. This past weekend, however, it morphed from a nicer intranet to an invaluable tool and an essential component of our business processes. I thought you would like to know. Best regards, Joe. So I felt like this is and we felt this was a really powerful example of how accessibility is really key for communication. So for BOKF, it really changed the way they approached their crisis communication strategy. They ended up making the intranet the central tool for communication with their staff. And wouldn't you know it, less than 2 weeks after the Tulsa tornado, Hurricane Harvey impacted many employees at BOKF locations in Houston. As soon as this happened, an alert was disseminated through Bank Connect, so again through their intranet, and instructed employees to post an update, letting other colleagues know that they were safe. So in this one example with Hurricane Harvey, which I thought was the most powerful, was during this communication, one of their staff members had commented on how they had lost their home, right, through the flooding, and other staff members across BOKF were reading this comment. And a couple of days later, when that staff member was cleaning up after the impact of the hurricane, a whole bunch of BOKF staff, not only from that person's own branch, but across the organization, showed up to help them clean up. And on top of that, their BOK staff got together. They did a fundraising event, and they raised over $89,000 for that staff member as well. Right. So I think at the end of the day, this is not only just a story about crisis communication and just the advantage of having something in the cloud, but really this is about the opportunity of uniting your staff when they need it the most. All right, so that was the first example, BOKF. Second example is going to be Entegra Credit Union. So this is a fast-growing Manitoba-based financial institution serving over 14,000 members across 4 branches and an online savings division. It's interesting with Manitoba. There's a lot of credit unions in Manitoba that are using Thought Farmer. I think the last count that I had was over 14, right? So there's one vertical that I think that does really well in. But with so much emphasis placed on architecture and navigation, it's easy to lose sight of the significance of a visually appealing intranet. But a well-designed intranet isn't just about looking nice. It helps reinforce branding, assists in adoption, and keeps users coming back. With branding, we often see 2 directions. So one direction is corporate look and feel, right? So you look at the public-facing website, you take those same colors and those same logos, and you apply it to the intranet. One strategical advantage of that is especially if you've done some kind of rebranding in your organization. Maybe you come up with some new colors and some new logos, and the internet could be a good way to reinforce that and support that initiative for the rebranding as well. So that's kind of the first track that we see oftentimes with branding. Second track is giving the internet its own persona, right? Its own colors, its own logo, its own mascot. Oftentimes when people are taking this direction, they're also using an engagement tactic of having a naming contest. So asking your staff, hey, we're coming up with a new intranet, let's name it. You get a name and you build your branding around that. So as the winner of the design category in the 2018 Thought Farmer Best Intranet Awards, Entegra Credit Union blew us away with their impressive visual design. From the colors and the branding consistency to the unique ways they encourage adoption, their submission caught the eye of our creative team. So let's get into a little bit more detail on some of the things that they focused in on. So Entegra's marketing team designed the entire internet brand and the site on their own. A lot of times organizations will leverage our design team to be able to help with branding, but in their case, they really have the chops, the design chops to be able to do that as well. So the color palette, the checkpoint logo, so they named their internet checkpoint, and included all the images and banners that are used on the site. It's a very thorough, extensive branding exercise that they went through. So their checkpoint logo includes a rocket ship icon, which became the inspiration for the site. The team named it Orbit and included it in different spots on the site, from the background on the home page, so there's the background on the home page there, to the page header within different sections. So these are all kind of different opportunities of supporting the branding there. Thumbnail images, news carousel images, that's what we're looking at here now, which became a resource for every content publisher on Checkpoint. So for a content publisher, no longer do they have to worry about finding those images, right? They were able to go on to different photo galleries that are available on Thought Farmer and just be able to pick and choose from the ones that are available there. So Entegra continued to be creative even after their initial launch. A contest, the Hunt for Orbit, encouraged employees to locate Orbit on various pages. The outcome increased awareness and familiarity with Checkpoint's navigation. Entegra achieved their intranet goals by designing a fun, vibrant, and inviting space for employees. Best of all, they reminded us of what a well-designed intranet looks like. Oh, and there's the thumbnail images. All right, so I've been talking lots, so now it's over to Caroline.
Thank you, Amol. And so we're on to our inspiring internet number 3 here, and we're shifting gears a little bit here. We're going to look at a company called MedData. They are not a financial institution like our first 2 examples. MedData is they are a healthcare technology company. And so what they do is they help hospitals are their clients, to enhance the hospital patient's experience. They have about 1,000 people, and their intranet is called Pulse, as you can see here up on the screen. And MedData actually won our Best Intranets competition back in 2018 for most innovative. So they won that category, and we'll take a look, and you'll see why they won for that category. They really have taken all of the customization options that are available in Thought Farmer. They've embraced that and used it to take their intranet to the next level. So let's take a look. So, you know, being a healthcare company or a healthcare technology company, obviously, you know, people are at the center of everything that MedData does. So what they wanted to do with their intranet is just make sure that it was really easy for their staff or their employees to not only to connect to the tools they need every day, but also connect to each other and kind of leverage that possibilities through their intranet Pulse. And so how they did that, most and foremost, was by using that personalization that Thought Farmer offers. So the first example we see here, up here on the left, is something they did for their sales staff. So MedData sales staff oftentimes obviously meets with new prospects, presents what MedData can do for that customer, and the way they do that is obviously through presentations and sharing collateral and information. So what the internet team did is they set up a area on Pulse, you know, collection of collateral for each service branch that MedData offers. So now sales staff can go in here, and instead of having to contact the marketing team every time they meet with a customer, and then the marketing manually building out content for that specific sales meeting, sales staff can go in here, they can go online on Pulse. There's a form there that they can fill out where they can request specifically branded sales collateral based on the pain points of the client that they are meeting with, right? So it's, instead of having to, you know, contact people manually and do it that way, everything is right there on Pulse. It's just a simple form that the sales staff fills out. It has a whole set of instruction. It even has a how-to video on the intranet. And the intranet team also added a nice gallery with sample or images that can explain sort of like what that sales collateral can look like in the end. So making through that level of personalization, and of course the form that we're seeing here is custom built. It's a very innovative way to make those tools available to staff in a way more efficient way than how it was done before they added this to Pulse. And then another, I'm going to move on to the next example on the right here, but before I do, I just wanted to share one other thing they did on their intranet, which is quite playful, and it kind of characterizes how MedData really embraces these innovative and creative ways to use their intranet. So what they've done is they've added an audio feature to the alert mechanism on the intranet. So whenever people receive an alert to indicate that, you know, one of my groups has been modified or somebody posted something, instead of just getting the alert in the app, for them, it also plays a little sound. And they actually change these sounds or alert sounds based on the season. So they have one for Christmas. I'll just see if I can play this here for you. So it does some sleigh bell sounds, right? They have, I forget what the occasion was, but they also have the Mario mushroom sound. And then for Thanksgiving, obviously they had this. Some turkey gobbling. So this just characterizes the way MedData uses these kind of things on the internet so well. They obviously did, they were aware of the fact that, you know, some people might not wanting to hear a turkey gobble every hour when a new alert comes through. So they also provided a very easy sound off option for their staff as well. But it's just a small touch, but it really made, for them and for their staff, it made a big impact in terms of engagement on the internet. What they did as well, and that's the example here on the right, and they did this very soon after they launched Pulse with their staff, is they incorporated some gamification elements on the internet. So what they did with the help of the Thought Farmer team is they created some custom badges for their staff. And so if staff completed certain activities on the internet, it would give them a little badge on their profile, right? So for example, when they when they added their first comment on the internet, or they created a page, or they attached a file, as you can see here on Rachel's profile, it would add all of those on their profile. And so that really, for them, it really spurred very quick adoption of their internet after they launched, and staff just love this, right? Like, who doesn't love a little game? So it really encouraged staff to embrace this new tool that they had. And MedData was the first one of our customers who actually came up with this idea and asked us to implement this for Pulse. And it's such a great idea that now we actually have quite a few customers use this same customization on Thought Farmer, and we've also made it available to them, to that wider audience. So again, thanks MedData for coming up with that great idea. And so talking about customization, and really that's at the heart of what MedData have done with their internet so well, is they've taken these tools that Thought Farmer offers and really taken it to the next level. And so it's good to highlight, perhaps if there are other people on the phone who are customers that might not know about these options, we do have a wealth of customization and personalization options for your internet. If you are a customer, you will have access to our Thought Farmer community, and I'd like to invite you to check out our card marketplace here, just up on the screen. It has tons of examples of obviously the gamification that we just saw, but tons of other customizations as well. Some of them come at a cost, but a lot of them are free as well, right? And so you can just browse our marketplace. If you see any that pique your interest or that you think might be very helpful for your internet, you can find them all here. Contact our support team, and we're happy to set those up for you. So know that those options are available there. And with that, I'm going to hand it back to Amol to talk about our next customer.
Thank you, Caroline. Okay, great. So with over 1,000 employees spread across 11 organizations and multiple school districts, we have Capital Region BOCES. They realized that a digital platform was needed to increase communications and collaboration among their staff. And they tried many times, launching with different types of SharePoint intranets, but those projects had one thing in common, which was they didn't meet expectations, right? They oftentimes failed miserably, and it was really hard for staff to be able to use it and to be able to manage it. So they decided to look outside of SharePoint. They looked at a few different vendors, decided to team up with Thought Farmer to launch a new and improved intranet, which they called BERT, which stood for BOCES Employee Resource Tool. You're going to notice BERT is being represented by the owl mascot, if you know about Thought Farmer. We also have an owl, right? So there's the two owls side by side. To me, the BERT one has had a little too much coffee in the morning versus our own owl. But if I were to go have a beer with one of the owls, I think I would pick BERT. Because I think it would have a very rich history to tell me, right? And so both owls, I think, have grown to me, but I like BERT a little bit more. Okay, so with BERT, there's a lot of examples of them using BERT across their intranet, right? So very similar to what we saw with Entegra Credit Union, where they're really trying to reinforce the branding, right? So really good job with those subheaders and using BERT and leveraging that there as well. And one other kind of key item to this particular case study was really their project team, right? So they had 4 members of their team. A lot of these team members were part of the communications team, and they were also very much experienced with the previous implementations of their intranet, right? So they really felt the pain from our project team in regards of launching these SharePoint intranets, them not doing so well, right? Them getting the feedback that it's not going so well, right? And so they really wanted to be able to change the way that their organization was collaborating with one another and communicating with one another, right? So for any of these kind of internet projects, people, process, and technology, right? And this is a good example where people, especially during this project team, was essential, right? So they had a very solid group of individuals here that got the business case for the intranet and really pushed in regards of getting the buy-in from their staffs and their executives. So again, I can't say enough of how much this project team impacted the success of their intranet. But one thing to note again is that business case aspect, right? They really spent a lot of time talking to their staff members, understanding what are the needs, outlining that and presenting that. Near the end of this talk, we're going to actually spend a few minutes on how you yourselves can build a business case, kind of taking some of the inspiration from these individuals here as well. All right, next one.
All right, so on to our inspiring intranet number 5, and this one is LPK. LPK has actually been a Thought Farmer customer for a really long time, and what they do is they're a marketing and design agency, an international one, and so they help their customers to build brands and stay up to date in their emergent culture, the branch that they are in, and so LPK have been awarded in many of our best internet competitions, and obviously as a branding and design agency, their intranet looks really great. And why we're highlighting them here today is just how they are embracing, continuously improving their intranet and making sure that they don't stop after they first launch it. They are continuously working on updating it, making that homepage better, updating their look and feel, and those kind of things. So when they upgraded their intranet recently to our latest version of Thought Farmer, they took that upgrade as an opportunity to really take a look at their intranet again and to refresh their intranet's overall design. And their intranet is called Watson, or Watson Knows. And so what they did is they gave it a bit of a facelift, right? And so as a branding agency, obviously their internet identity was very important to them, and they wanted to make sure that they maintained that recognizable internet identity that their staff is already familiar with after using it for many years, but at the same time refreshing it a little bit and taking advantage of some of those new features that were available in that later version of Thought Farmer. So if we take a look here at their homepage, we're going to see here these I call them page headers that they have that they created for that latest version. It was actually, of course, they have an in-house team that did that for them. They have their own print and pattern team, and those guys took advantage of that new page header area or option and created these custom patterned page headers for each section of their intranet, which is really well done. So the tech help section, clients and brand teams, all of them really following the same core brand colors for Watson Knows, but slightly different patterns here and there. And this one is the one for their people directory. Speaking about people, LPK is also embracing how Watson, their intranet, helps when they onboard new staff at LPK. So what you're seeing here is their new hire or new employee onboarding template on Watson. And this is just a really great way that they are incorporating some core business processes that are part of their organization and leveraging their intranet to get those things done. So this is a template where, whenever you hire a new staff member, a ton of things have to be done, right? And different teams are usually involved. You have the tech team who sets up this person's desktop, phones, computers, the HR team who's setting them up in the system and enrolling them in the benefit plans and those kind of things. So usually like a big process with lots of people involved and lots of tasks to be done. And so they have this space on their intranet that they copy every time a new person is hired, and then they pass it around internally, each person who's involved in it just taking off those tasks that need to be done as they go. On the flip side as well, it's a great way for them to introduce any new staff members directly to Watson as one of the core tools that they will be using as an employee at LPK. So yeah, we really like this example of how they take advantage of every single feature that they have available there on the internet, and making sure it is used to, you know, getting all of those day-to-day tasks done, and just looking really great at the same time, obviously with that really slick branding. So that is LPK. And then last but certainly not least, we're going to take a look at our sixth inspiring intranet, and this is Destination Canada. They're based right here in Vancouver, and they have a couple hundred employees. What stood out for them? Everything, really. And why we say that is these guys in our 2018 Best Intranets competition won our People's Choice Award. So we have different categories whenever we do our Best Intranet award, and we added a new one last time to just let all of our customers choose which intranet they like the best, and Destination Canada won that one by a mile. So, you know, what Destination Canada, what they are, well, they're Canada's tourism marketing organization, essentially, right? They are responsible for marketing the country Canada as a really great destination where, you know, where visitors can go and just enjoy incredible experiences. They came to Thought Farmer searching for an internet that would connect their staff. So they have a really large staff base, and they're really geographically very dispersed, right? They have staff members all over Canada. They are obviously working with other tourism agencies across the globe, actually. And so they really wanted to have a space and a tool that could bring people together, where they could, you know, talk to their staff about important news, important events, and first and foremost, also, they wanted to have an intranet that their staff would enjoy using, right? And so they did. They did. This is their homepage, and as you can see, it's very rich in images. It's very you know, focused around news and just providing staff with all the tools they need. One little really adorable detail, something they did with the branding of their intranet, is it is highlighted here on the screen. So they ended up choosing the name Explore DC, or Exploration DC. They are bilingual, obviously being Canadian. That is the name for their internet. But how they got to that is they actually did a staff-wide naming contest, right? So they invited all of their staff, hey guys, we have this new internet coming. If you have a good suggestion for a name, send it along and we'll consider it, and then we're going to vote on it. Which is, of course, you know, if you're planning on launching an intranet, this is a great way to get your staff engaged and get the buzz going about this new amazing intranet that's coming. So, and it was very successful for them. They got a ton of suggestions. And while they did end up with Explore DC, Exploration DC in the end, they wanted to honor all of these other great suggestions that their staff had sent in. And so what they did here is the background image of their intranet is kind of like a brown paper look with all of the different names that were suggested just highlighted across them, right? Carrefour, Gateway, Active, Hub, they are all still represented there. So we thought that was just a really great and creative way to still honor all of those other suggestions. So yeah, like I said, on their homepage, image-rich news is right there for all of their staff to see. And then on the left and on the right here, you can see that they have really made a big effort to provide their staff, connecting them to all of those tools they need to get their job done right from their internet homepage. And highlighting in specific here, the speaker bureaus, or the speakers bureau section on their intranet, which is a section they have built out that gives staff everything they could potentially need to go out and deliver presentations and representing the you know, Destination Canada out there in meetings and presentations whenever they need to. So this is an area where they have, you know, anything that is like slide templates, images to use in slides, anything relating to their brand and their key messaging. They also designed these amazing icons to make their site just that much easier to scan and that much more visually attractive. And so this section has just a wealth of information for staff, information that wasn't gathered anywhere before they launched Explore DC. So they really did a great job visually, branding wise, and just providing that content that gets people there and that keeps their staff coming to the internet, making their life easier. So that's Destination Canada, definitely one that is close to our heart. So that was our 6th inspiring intranet, and that brings us to the end of the presentation, but I believe Amol has just a few words he'd like to add.
Well, thank you very much, Caroline. I think those are really 6 great examples of very strong intranets, and I think at the end of the day, we're kind of advocating for here is when it comes to inspiration, it's really about planning. It's really about solving organizational use cases, right? So for the example of crisis communication, right? How the internet can be leveraged for that. And then next example, right? And how branding enforce and help with user adoption. We talked about data and how customization with user adoption. We talked about LPK, very similar to as well. And again, processes. Identifying processes, finding a better way to accomplish them. That's kind of the inspiration that you should be taking out of this webinar. And then confirmation piece, all the project team. Right, they're very inspirational. I think their energy really was something that the rest of their staff uses the energy not to be helpful and they continue to use it. And Destination Canada is lovely. They're based in the Quebec. I have the opportunity of working with them quite often, especially their communications as well. And I think that they had a very powerful example of just that context that they were at. Right, prior to thought whatever, when they were giving out those really strategic KPIs of the organization. So again, it was for the first visits. Right, this is their key metric in the organization. So you got to think for yourselves, like, what is your key metric, and how do you convey that now in the organization? Right, and more times than not, it's going to be some kind of email. Right, email being sent out saying, in their case, we've hit X amount of visits here. Feel good about that. Right, the challenge there is the engagement on. Right, you know, you do set up this messaging to celebrate, but there's very unlikely that people are going to reply to all that, right? To be able to provide that feedback and recognition. So to be able to transition that into like almost a contest where they did a contest. What is that number? You build up that excitement. You release the number. All of a sudden, there's a lot of excitement about that. So anyhow, a lot of that stuff is inspirational. How do you get there? To be able to get to a strong internet, one thing to consider is your business case, right? So if you are right now in the project phase where you're making some decisions on, okay, we identify, and this is, I'm going to quote unquote because I hear this all the time, a horrible, outdated intranet, right? This is what, if you have something like that right now, and you know that you need to get to something better, building a business case is going to be critical to get that internal buy-in. Right, so executive buy-in, one way to get executive buy-in is to first get staff buy-in, right? Go out to your staff, understand what are the pain points now, be able to outline that, and be able to have a compelling argument for your executives, right? So this building an internet business case white paper, something that we released earlier in the year, we are finding that a lot of people are downloading it and finding a lot of value out of it, right? So not only just being able to kind of organize your thoughts, but there's also even a template in there to be able to do a bit of a PowerPoint on being able to then execute on that presentation as well. Yeah, so again, building an business case, is a white paper. All right. Now, we'll be questions.
Thanks, guys. That was fantastic. There are a few questions. Alicia has asked where these audio options are enabled, and I believe this question came through during MedData's review. So Caroline, do you want to handle that?
Yes, hi Alicia. Yeah, so the custom notification sounds that MedData implemented, they did it through a custom card on ThoughtFarmer. So it's not a feature that's available in ThoughtFarmer right out of the box, but it's a very easy one to add. So they did that by, actually they worked with Tim in our development team to set that up. If you're interested in that, by all means, just email us on our help desk and our support team can let you know what's involved with setting that up. It's a fairly easy thing to add and to modify as well if you want to use different types of sounds.
Thank you. The next question here, Steve would like to know, how much time would it take for us to get to an awesome intranet like these?
That's a great question, Steve. I think that with most organizations, when you are looking at start to finish, right? You have the ideas of your business objectives, you've picked your vendor, and now you want to be able to do all the things that you have in those objectives, all the good things. On average, what we typically see from when somebody signs a contract with Entegra and launches is about 3 to 4 months, I would say. The biggest variable being content migration, right? So migration of content takes some time and effort. It's usually a manual process, but that is where we see the biggest variable in regards of maybe speeding up your timeline or maybe a bit of an increase in your timeline. But really, one of the things that should be focusing on is for inspiration and branding and kind of these objectives you want to meet, prioritize them. You're going to have a big list, maybe a list of 15, prioritize the top 5, know the ones that you're going to knock out of the park. That it's going to impact everybody in the organization. It's going to be 3 times better than the old way. Focus on that. And then you can start really building that user adoption, getting the confidence of your staff, and then start introducing more things, right? But again, just timeline-wise, kind of think of yourselves like 3 to 4 months. If there's something in particular that you want to launch by, sometimes like a town hall meeting or something like that, that's oftentimes a good push as well in regards of getting the project done as well.
Okay, thanks for that, Amol. Just one more question. How easy is it to do customizations in ThoughtFarmer?
I can take that one. It's very easy, actually. I mean, it's usually we have some customers who use all of the development tools that are available in ThoughtFarmer and do it themselves. I mean, if you have some people on your staff that are, software engineers or that are familiar with code, you can do a wealth of things just by checking out our our extension feature in the administration panel. We have a fully fleshed out API as well, and it's fully documented. So if you want to go at it yourself, absolutely, we have tons of customers who do that. We do also have in our software development team, we have Tim and Riva, who are both fabulous. They are our professional services developers, and they help customers all the time with getting customizations up and running, right? So if you have an idea for something that you want to do with your intranet, you're not finding it in the core feature set, by any means, just reach out to us. And it's always worth a chat just to see if there is something we can do to help you achieving that goal through a customization. We help customers all the time with getting those things up and running. So it doesn't have to be hard. It obviously depends on what kind of functionality you want to add, right? The gamification badges that we saw there earlier, as well as those, the funny notification sounds, those are very easy to add, but you can go all out and build a really big additional feature. We have one customer who who asked us to build a timesheet feature, sort of on their intranet, and that obviously is a bigger project. So it can be easy, it can be a little more complex, but there is usually there's always something we can do to get you to your goals. So just come and talk to us if you have something you want to accomplish there.
Thanks, Caroline. There actually are a few more questions here. So as long as you're okay to keep answering, I'm actually going to have Caroline answer as many as possible. I know there are some audio challenges with Amol's mic, so we're very sorry about that. But if you guys can stay on, we will take a few more questions. Megan would like to know, can you talk about support? Is it an added cost 24/7? Wondering how you help as we begin implementing.
Yeah, that's a great question. So support, 24/7 support is available at no extra cost. We do reserve it for sort of emergency issues, right? So usually our support team is available during business hours, 8 to 5. We assist with via the phone, via the help desk, via email. We don't have 24/7 regular support, but if you ever have an issue that needs urgent attention during those off business hours, or you're in a different time zone, you can always phone our 24/7 emergency support phone number, and there is somebody around the clock able to pick up those calls and connect you with a ThoughtFarmer support agency if it's needed. So, and again, no extra cost for that.
Thank you, Caroline. Chris is saying we're about to launch in a couple of weeks. We have a number of engagement activities planned, but I was curious with the intranets that were showcased today, what strategies were the most successful for driving initial and then ongoing engagement?
Ooh, that's a big one. I mean, part of it too is the if you do choose to work with us kind of like through those professional services and help, you know, asking us to help you get you there. One thing we focus on heavily is, launch activities and planning those, and how are you going to be communicating. There's a lot that you can do ahead of time, like before you launch the new intranet. Things like we saw with Destination Canada there, right? Like involving your staff in choosing a name, like doing a little teaser campaign before launch, right? We have tons of examples, which I know we don't have the time to go through all of those today, but we do have a separate workshop or even presentation that goes through them. I think Kelly even wrote a blog post about, I think it's 37 proven launch and adoption techniques. So we can definitely follow up with you and connect you with some of those resources. But I think it's before launch, it's all about just engaging staff, letting them know this is coming, involving them as much as possible, choosing a name, involving them with content that is going to go on the internet, and then also realizing that the day that you launch your internet, the work's not done, right? I mean, you continuously work on improving the internet, like LPK is doing, right? They are updating that branding, they are upgrading to the latest version, they are continuously making sure the content on their internet is still relevant and helpful to staff. And I think that is probably the most important lesson in ensuring the ongoing success of your internet, is just realizing that it's not a project that comes to an end the day you launch. It's something that you keep carving and polishing along the way, and just ensure that your staff can see the value and can actually reap the benefits from that internet. I think that's probably the key message there. But again, we have tons of practical examples as well that we can connect you with after the webinar.
Okay, thanks. One more question here. Nicole is saying, I noticed that most intranets most intranets that were shown didn't categorize information based on departments, but based on the employee experience. Are there any tips to share when trying to determine the categories?
Oh, this is such an excellent question, and a very big one as well. We do indeed, when we work with customers and we have our user experience and information architecture experts who work with our customers on that, one of the things that we focus on very highly is to take a user-centric approach to building out the navigation of your intranet. And that's different for every organization, right? It depends on the content you have, it depends on how your organization is structured. But really, and I think it's already answered in your question, our core philosophy is that we want to make sure that your staff, your users, when they log onto the internet, the way the content is structured makes sense to the way they do their job. And that's not usually department driven. It's more sort of like functional, like what are they trying to get done on the internet? And that's typically how our philosophy that we take when we build out these information architectures, which is just a fancy word for navigation structure or content structure. When we work with customers, we always involve staff members as well when we build that content structure. So we ask them, hey, how would you group different types of content that are available in your organization? How would you try to find this, vacation policy, or where would you go and look to find, the instruction on how to set the alarm system and those things, right? So it's really looking at how your staff works, how your organization works. And again, yeah, that is typically not organized by department. It's a little more cross-functional like that. And again, I said that with the last question too, but we have so many resources on information architecture and content strategy that we're more than happy to share with you after the webinar.
Definitely. We can definitely follow up with all the content that we've talked about. And I know a few of you have asked questions about that. So we will follow up with all the resources that we discussed. Any other questions that we did not get to, we will follow up with you individually. Is there any final words or comments? I think Amal looks like he has something to say.
We'll use Carolyn's example in case there is.
Just bear with us.
That's okay. Okay. The only one thing that I'd like to just provide some information. You know, you guys have asked us questions. I just had a question for you all as well. Is that firstly, I hope that you guys got some value out of this presentation and this webinar today. We are looking to be able to create some great topics that are engaging for future webinars as well. One of the things that we're thinking about, we refer to this business case. We refer to this business case white paper. Would it be compelling for you guys, or would you guys attend a webinar based upon this business case and kind of how to create one? So that's one question that I have for you all. Second question is there any other topics that might be of interest to you all in regards to webinars that you want to learn more about intranets? Maybe it's around content strategy, information architecture, maybe it's around engagement. If there's anything else that's really kind of top of mind for you all, please don't hesitate to put it into that question box, that chat box. We're really keen on understanding what you guys are all looking for in regards to content. So thank you very much. And Caroline sure says thank you too. And take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everybody. Thanks for everyone attending. Thanks to our wonderful speakers. And we will be following up with an email of the recording. Thanks again and have a great day.